Hey, in this video we're going to talk about ordinal numbers and then saying number plus. But in this segment, it's ordinal numbers. So an ordinal number, again, is like saying first, second, third, 100th, etc. So in English, the way to make an ordinal number for the majority of numbers is to put a th after it, like 65th. But we have some exceptions when it's first, second, third, and then when we get to fourth, it's we're in the zone. But we have a couple exceptions in 1, 2, 3. In English, Chinese, the way to make an ordinal number is to put the word di before it, and then it becomes an ordinal number. So it's really simple, just di. So if we have if we're talking about if we're trying to say the second apple, for example, the formula is di, measure word, number, and noun. So it'd be, the second apple would be di er ge. I screwed that up. I put this in the wrong order. Let's redo this here. It's D plus number plus measure word plus noun. Okay, so it'd be 第二个苹果, the second apple. In the last video, we talked about when it's an ordinal number, we use 二 and not 两. So that's why we're saying 第二个, even though there's a measure word, it's 二 because it's an ordinal number. So here we go. 第一个人, that means, what do you think that means? 第一个人, the first person. That's not talking about first person like in writing, by the way. That's just like the first person who came today was this person, whatever. Here we have 第二天. 第二天. Here we don't have a spoken noun, so that there's no noun there. It's the second day. Here, day, this is a measure word, meaning a day of time. So technically there's no noun. It's the number measure word, which is fine. It's the second day. We'll get back. I want to share some more details about this phrase. It's kind of a fun phrase. Here we have 第12张照片. 张, remember 张 is a measure word meaning applying to things that have a flat surface. 照片 means picture. By the way, some people pronounce this with an R, 照片, and some people even make the 片 into first tone, 照片. But anyway, it's all the same. It's just different strokes for different folks. So we have 第12张照片. What does that mean? What do you think? It's the 12th picture. And then here we have a full sentence from All Set Learning, an example from All Set Learning. It's 我的第一个中文老师是美国人. So what does that mean? Let's take this noun here. 第一个中文老师. So 中文老师 means Chinese teacher, right? 第一个, what does that mean? First. So my first Chinese teacher, 是, is or was 美国人, American, was an American. And then also I want to point out that sometimes when in titles, the D is dropped from, if you have like 一路, the first road or whatever, it's like, we might say 第一路, like it's a title, it's a title of a road, the first road. Also, if you want to, in another way this shows up in 二月. 二月 means February, so we have 一月, 二月, or not just 二月, it's all the months actually. So 一月, 二月, 三月, 四月. Instead of saying 第一月, 第二月, 第三月, 第四月, that's essentially what it means. It's like the first month, the second month, the third month, the fourth month. But the D is dropped because it's a title. Now I wanted to go back to 第二天. This is a fun phrase. It means the second day. And the reason it's fun is because it's applied, it can mean the day after or the next day. Where in English we would never say that. We wouldn't usually say that. It's in stories. So in Chinese, when you're telling a story, you're saying, let's say I'm telling a story about some travels I did. So I arrived in Beijing and I slept in a hostel. And then the next day I woke up and I had an amazing breakfast. All right. So that when I said the next day, it means the day after I arrived in Beijing. That phrase, the next day, in Chinese you say 第二天, the second day. Now it doesn't necessarily mean it was the second day of the trip. It just means that wherever the pause was in the story, when I say 第二天, it just means the next day. And so, I mean, the second day, the day after. So that's a fun way that applies. It's very Chinese. When you start to use it, I think, at least for me, I don't even know if a Chinese person would notice because it's so normal for them. But for me, it feels like, oh man, I'm really speaking Chinese here because it's a Chinese way to express that idea. So I'm just throwing that out there. The ordinal numbers, good to know. In this video, we're going to talk about how to talk about kind of round numbers or approximate numbers. It's very similar to English. If we want to say, we say number plus. Like if I want to say 30 plus or 30 odd people. 30 odd people. You know what I mean? Actually, you might not know what I mean. It's like, so if it's like more than 30, but I'm not saying specifically how many. And so one of the ways I do that in Chinese is say 多, and 多 means more. So it's kind of like you're saying a number more. But what it does is it represents the unit, a number within the unit, the next unit that follows the number that just was said. So it goes number, 多, and then if there's a measure word and noun, measure word and noun. Okay. So if I want to say this means 30 plus people or 30 odd people. Excuse me. That's what we need, 30 odd people. 30多个人, 30 more people. And so 30多, this means between 30, it means more than 30 but less than 40. Because it's like, let's say if I wanted to say 35, how do I say 35? 35. Where does the 5 go right here? 35. So this 多 represents a number that would be here. So it could be 1 to 9. It could be 31 or it could be 39. It's 30 plus. It's an approximate number saying between 30 and 40. It's like replacing the 1 through 9 that could go there. So 30多个人. Now here we have 200多辆车. So the 辆 is the measure word for vehicle. 车 means vehicle. So 200多辆车 means 200 is 200, right? So what do you think this 多 means? It's the next unit, so it's like tens. So it means more. I'm not trying to complicate it. I'm just showing how it works. It means more than 200, but it also means less than 300. It means 200 plus, but not like 400. It means it's between 2 and 300. Just like it could be 210, and obviously it could be 213 too. It kind of represents all of the numbers within, the 200 and it just means more than 200, but 200多 means between 2 and 300. Not like between 200 and 210. It's between 2 and 300 because it represents any number of tens that could go there. And then here we have, I wanted to point out what happens when 多 comes after the measure word. Because here we have a number 10, 块. 块is units of money. So 10块. Actually I forgot this one down here. This is 块as well. 3000多块钱. So 3000 is 3,000. 3000多, what do you think that means? Between 3 and 4,000. So it's more than 3,000, less than 4,000. 3000多块钱. That means it means more than 3,000 块, but also saying less than 4,000. 10块多. This is 10 kwai and change, because the next unit after kwai is like dimes, right? It's dimes, and so the 10块多 means it's between 10 and 11 kwai, right? So 10块多, it's more than 10 kwai, but it's less than 11 because it's 10块多. Now what if I say 10多块? That's different. 10多块, it's now I'm saying this represents the digits between 10 and 20, so it means 11 to 19 kwai. So it's more than 10 but less than 20. Does that make sense? 10块多 is more than 10 but less than 11. But 10多块, because this 多 is next to, it's like how many kwai? More than 10 but this do is representing the next digits 1 through 9. So it's either 11. It's somewhere between 11 and 19. 快，是多快. I hope that makes sense. That's kind of an important distinction and helping you to understand how this do thing works. Whatever it comes after, it represents the next unit down. And so if the unit is already we're saying the units, there's 10 units, you can't go down from 10 because I don't know, I'm not describing this well. So it's 十块多. So it's 10 and then 10 exact units of money, and then to go down from there is dimes. But if the do comes between the 十 and the 块, then it's between 11 and 19. I hope that makes sense. I don't know if I'm doing that very well. But there you have it. We have do to say more, as in a number, more than that number. Keep up the good work.